What's up, everybody? So we're out in the shop with another Shop Talk Tuesday, and in this episode we are working on the Shop Talk Tuesday build knife. So this guy right here. Now we've done a few steps up to this point, and what that was, forging the handle to be able to extend our material to be able to make this actual knife. Then we did some stock removal sections, we did some bevels, we did some heat treat process, we did some hand sanding. And that got us to the finish that we have on here right now, which is a 600 grit finish on there. It's looking real good. We have not buffed this at all. That's just the hand sanding finish. And as you can see, I went ahead and put the maker's mark on here. Now, I get a lot of questions about the maker's mark. Some people ask why I don't put them on every single knife, because sometimes I'll end the episodes of me making a particular knife and it won't have a maker's mark on it. They do get maker's marks. All of them do. I don't have to do the maker's mark before the hand sanding process because my particular maker's mark is just electro etched and it doesn't really have to be sanded afterwards. I can do the maker's mark, go over to the buffer, hit it with a compound, and it's just fine after it. It's not an aggressive process. All I use, and I kind of changed this up a little bit. I've been doing this for the last couple of knives. It's just a little ammo can. I cannibalized a battery charger to build this. It's got the internals of a battery charger, a little front plate with little buttons on the front of it to be able to change the intensity of it. And then it just has the original clip, and then this little guy that I made in a previous video. You know, put a piece of cotton over that, rubber band, dip it in your vinegar salt solution, at your maker's mark. I am going to be doing a video just based on that process because that is like the least expensive way to have a very good quality maker's mark etcher for like 50 bucks, I think, and that includes the ammo can, the battery charger, all the stuff that I did, all of that. It's like $50, you know, and it did not take a degree in like electronic stuff. I didn't even have to wire anything. All I did was got rid of the stuff that I didn't need and kept the stuff that I did. But yeah, we're gonna have a whole video on that. There you go. Now, in this episode, we need to acid etch and stonewash this blade. Now, originally I was going to acid etch and then maybe do some mustard etching and some stonewashing and all of that because I've had a few people on the TRE workshop. If you're not a part of that, most of the people who watch the Shop Talk Tuesdays are, just TRE workshop. I've got a link for it in the description. Go check it out. There's a lot of people on there that share all kinds of different knife builds, and they've had a few of them where they've done acid etching, mustard etching, and stonewashing, and they've come out pretty cool. So I was going to do that originally, but I think I'm just going to acid etch and stonewash it. So we're going to go over to the workbench and we're going to break down the acid etching and stonewashing process. So let's go over there and do that. So we've got our acid mixture right here. This is 50-50 mixture of ferric chloride and distilled water. Now, I've been using this same acid for probably about a year now, and I will tell you, as this ages, it will take longer to do your etching process, you know, because as it breaks down and all that, but that takes a long time, and I'll be using this same acid for a while. I will tell you this, one of the things that I've changed up is for all my monosteel blades and my Damascus, Gomai, Sanmai, stuff like that, I use this particular one. I do have a separate one for my Kumais and anything that has copper in it, because that actually, the copper will stay inside here and can actually stain the other blades and apply some copper to them. So I use two different ones depending on whether it has copper or if it's a, just regular carbon steel blade. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our blade, make sure it's nice and clean, go into the acid. Now for this, we're going to do it in phases, okay? So this is going to be the first one will be about a 5-minute soak, and then we're going to do a 10-minute soak, and then I'm probably going to do another 10 to 15-minute soak after that. And in between them, if you're doing Damascus, in between them, you can go through and you can sand. You can already see how much darker this is getting right here. So you don't have to leave it in there for long, but what we're going to end up doing, like I said, 5 minutes. Then I'm going to take it out, I'm going to clean it, and I'm just going to be cleaning it with Windex and the gloves that I'm wearing. That's it, which is going to be these gloves right here. They're textured. So I'm just going to be using that and the Windex to clean off the blade. I'm not going to be sanding it, I'm not going to be using steel wool, anything like that. Use my gloves, clean it with the Windex, then it goes back in for 10 minutes. Take it out, clean it with just the gloves and the Windex, and then it goes back in for another 10 to 15 minutes, call it done. Now, I will tell you that if by the first 5 then 10 minute, if it has the darkness and the evenness that I want, I'll leave it at that, and I won't do a third etch. But what you're looking for, and I'm going to come back here in just a second, and I'm going to let this etch for 5 minutes, and then I'll talk about what you're looking for, because I want you to see exactly what I'm talking about when I do it. So we're going to go ahead, let this soak for 5 minutes, come back whenever we're doing our first cleaning. So let's do that. So here's where I'm talking about. All I'm really going to be doing is just cleaning this with the Windex. Now you can see it looks like we've got a nice even finish, which we really do on here. That thing is super black. But as we start cleaning it, some of that's going to go off. Not much, but some of it. I'm just going to be using the, like I said, the texture from these gloves to just rub some of that excess off of there. Now you can't really see it a ton, but there is a little bit of clouding going on through here. You can kind of see it kind of S through here. So the reason why we're going to do a few different coats, not really coats, but a few different soaks, is because we want to even that stuff out. If there's anything on here, it'll leave little spots and things like that. So we're going to do a couple of soaks just to make sure everything's nice and even, but as of right now, we've got a nice, super dark blade. We're going to go one more soak, and then probably go from there. Okay. So now, clean it again. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just coating the heck out of it with that WD-40. And then I'm just going to give it some little rubbing on here. You see how much darkness is coming off of there. Okay, now what the goal is, we're going to go ahead and get a towel. We're going to wipe this off real quick. And then I'm going to show you one of the things that I do directly after that. Okay. Glove off. Mineral oil. I coat the whole entire thing with mineral oil. I used to do WD-40, but even with WD-40, I would still end up with this dark finish turning a little bit brown. And whenever I switched to the mineral oil, which for one is also food safe, whenever I switched to the mineral oil, it completely stopped doing that. So I'm going to leave it like this, and then I'm going to get stuff prepped to start stonewashing it. This isn't this isn't going to fit in my normal stonewashing setup, so I've got to think outside the box and figure out something for that. But for right now, that's how we're looking, which it just looks awesome, doesn't it? But let's go ahead, get our stonewash stuff set up, and go from there. So typically, I use this right here for my stonewashing. I use these containers for a lot of different things. You see inside there, there's just little stones. And what these are aquarium rocks. And then there's oil inside here to keep everything nice and lubricated so that I don't have a ton of dust flying around inside there. But typically, I would use this and this, but as you can see, it's not big enough. The blade will stick out of this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work this down in here. You'll see that it kind of sticks out a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover the top of this and tape it. Now I plan on making a larger one of these that I can actually use a different way, but for right now, this is what I got. So we're going to start shaking this up and let this stonewash. Okay, should be plenty. So you can't really see it that well because of the lighting. So I'm going to bring y'all up top and then I'll give y'all a little close-up. Alright, well we got it wrapped up and I really like the finish on this. So this is where we're at after I got it all cleaned off. Just a nice acid etch stonewash finish. Super smooth finish. Really, really, really even. You see that maker's mark and then sharpening choil stands out. I really like how this turned out. Now, could I have left it jet black? Of course, I could have. But for the type of use and abuse that this knife is going to get put through, because I'm going to be using it more or less as a yard work knife. I know it looks crazy. I know some people would just love to have this sitting on a shelf, but my intended purpose for this knife was to use it to trim branches off of trees and things like that. It's going to have awesome edge retention. I'm used to 5169s and the type of things that I put them through. I know what type of edge retention this is going to have, and I wanted to build a really cool knife to work in my backyard with. It is what it is. But, guys, with the jet black finish, if I would have went that route, it would have just ended up scratching all unevenly, and I didn't want to do that. So with the stonewash finish, as it ages and I put more scratches in it and I start wearing it down and all that, it's just going to go with the stonewash finish and it's just going to enhance it more and more. So it's the perfect finish for something like this. Really excited about this. It's super even, and that's what I like about it. Like, above anything is just that it's so consistent all the way through. There's no cloudiness or anything like that. But guys, let's recap the actual process. So we went ahead, had our 600 grit finish on it. Then we went straight from that into our acid mixture, which was a 50-50 mixture of ferric chloride and distilled water. Put it in there for 5 minutes, pulled it out, cleaned it with just my gloves and Windex, dried it, put it back in the acid, 10 minutes, was able to pull it out, had a nice even jet black finish. I didn't need to go in for a third round. So we finished it with that one, cleaned it off, oiled it. I used mineral oil because it's a personal preference. You can use WD-40 if you want to. So mineral oil, and then into our Stonewash mixture, which was just oil and aquarium rocks inside a container. My knife was too big, so I had to figure out something, so I just capped it, taped it, it worked out. All I really needed to stonewash was from the ricasso forward, so got it stonewashed, shook it up for about 2 minutes, and then pulled it out, wiped it down, and ended up with that finish right there. It's not a very complicated process. This is something that y'all can easily do. It doesn't require anything crazy to be able to do this, but you can get a really cool finish with something as simple as this. So guys, hopefully this helped y'all out if y'all wanted to do a finish like this. Hopefully y'all feel more comfortable with doing it now. For the people that already do a stonewash finish, I'd like to know y'all's process down below in the comment section, because I know a lot of people are going to be interested in that. You know, just because this is the way that I do it, it doesn't mean this is the way that everyone has to do it. So I'm interested to see what y'all do. So let me know in the comment section. But guys, it's the end of this one. In the next episode, what we're going to work on is the handle scales. So be looking forward to that. I'm going to be using material that I haven't really used very much. It's nothing super crazy, but I think it's going to look good. Guys, that's the end of this one. If you would, give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends and your family. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there. I'll catch y'all next time.